Welcome back, boys and girls, to Gary Grigsby's War in These 2, turn 6 versus Warmus. And we're in the beginning of 2025, so we're on the latest end final patch. So what happened last turn, or this turn actually? As you can see from the turn summary, we suffered relatively few manpower losses, not that many tanks and artillery, but we suffered 500 airplane losses. So air is actually, we increased our on-map presence here a lot, with nearly 300,000, 3.6 thousand artillery. Okay, I guess we reinforced 500 planes and we all lost them. But as you can see, we're losing a lot of airplanes on the map. So that is one of our main concerns. And up in the north, German infantry has now reached Tallinn. We're defending with 57. We got the 34th in. It's probably my worst leader, 3.0 in the entire map. And he was parked outside, so I couldn't sail out with the 23rd Tank Division. It had to run on ground, because apparently my naval tonnage was overloaded. But I don't think he's going to be surrounded. Funny story, 23rd Tank Division, originally evacuated from Ventspils, got into Tallinn, rallied in 2 turns, and now he's running for Leningrad here. Obviously with 37 morale, he's gonna get off map or even be disbanded. Wait, could I disband him? Nope. And let's see here. We have German airdrops in Pskov and up at DNO. So I don't know if he's still got mobile units up here or if he has withdrawn them to the south. He's been scouting up here, and I pulled back my cavalry from down here. So I guess this turn he didn't bang up my cavalry, because these were some of my larger cavalry units, and now they're down to, well, they're smaller now because they've been taking a battering. Anyways, Leningrad has a fairly stable 2 hex deep defense line. Built 1 new fort behind Novgorod here in the light wood hex, and I built 2 more forts in the Leningrad urban hexes themselves. And here I deployed railroad construction brigades to them, which has very high construction value. I guess I should show you that. I have a lot of forts around Leningrad now. Wait, there we go. So we have forts all the way around Leningrad here, and even a couple around Novgorod. So I'm hoping this is gonna make a bit of a difference. Wait, what the hell was this? NKPS? Oh, this is my rail repair unit. Oh, all right. Yeah, I didn't notice this was no leader assigned. Okay. Well, I don't need to repair. I don't need to repair any railroad units for a long time. I didn't notice this was on the map. I need to check that out. Okay. So, anything else? Yeah, finally the frozen tank division outside Leningrad, the 24th, is down to 43 morale, but I put him here on the supply depot and kind of refit him up here, because this pink army actually has a good mobile mechanized forces leader, so I can use him as a reserve force in the second air line. As long as they're fighting in the light forest there, I guess the tank division up here isn't the end of the world, but I probably want to rail him out sooner or later. So now we get over to northwestern front, and we have the 33rd Army here. It has been quite weak, but I'm setting up some sort of defensive line here in the rough terrain with decent defense values. I'm a little bit worried he's gonna strike hard with infantry. I guess these 2 hexes here have infantry in them because of the fort value. So I don't know how far it's gonna get here, but I'm hoping to hold this turn and then reinforce with a couple of further refitting infantry from behind. Airwise, I lost a huge number of airplanes around Leningrad. I don't know why. Oh, here we go. See, 17 airplanes lost. Okay. Okay. 26 airplanes lost. Around Leningrad, I barely have any bombers left up here, so I'm mostly relying on defensively fighting with my fighters. Then we got another cavalry banged up here. Not too bad, lost 17 airplanes. But of course, a cavalry division is not going to be able to withstand well, it's only one infantry division. So what I did here in the area behind Veliki Luki is that I fell back a bit with these weak divisions to kind of give me some space here. I hate giving up these nicely defensive terrain provinces, but I'm scared of these heavy divisions coming here and that they're just needlessly gonna inflict casualties. I have a small secondary line here, but I feel weak in this sector. On the other hand, everything we're really fighting about is if they're gonna be able to reach Valdai rough hills or not before winter, right? So even if he pushes me back up here in this area, I got one infantry division coming here in this sector, and I got another infantry division coming here in this sector. I don't think I have anything reinforcing in the Leningrad area defensive sector. Okay, so one small attack and lots of air supply. Oh, right, he made 3 Moscow militia rifle divisions surrender inside Veliki Luki this turn. He had 105,000 attack. He actually lost 8 fighters to our 41 planes. But look, 18,300, that is not good casualty ratios at all. But we made, I don't know how many divisions, over 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, we held up 5 infantry divisions for another week. That is why we lost 18,000 troops, I suppose. And then we have a thin line here. We have the 11th Army and the 5th Airborne Corps stretching thinly south here in the wilderness. These 8,000, 8,500, 11,000. These divisions are quite weak. 8,000. So this is kind of a skirmish line here. But then, not too far north of Smolensk, we see some mechanized reserve forces. And this is what I did with my 20 APs, action points, this turn. I invested it in upgrading an army, the 31st Army, and I put the best tank leader, average 5.5, Leonid Bobkin. Very nice 7 initiative and a mech rating of 6. So he's probably the best mech lead that there is. He can command infantry as well, but I don't want to use him for that. And I just put these gray best mech and tank divisions under his command. You can see here we have a 12 strength. I mean, that's pretty amazing turn 6 for the Russians, right? With 300 tanks in it as a reserve. So I'm hoping the Smolensk area is gonna hold for another turn. Obviously, I'm afraid of an encirclement or a breakthrough somewhere, but this is one of the strongest part of my front, even though I think, look at all these 1-level fortifications. That is obviously German infantry that's reached there and now is resting. And I know he had a lot of mechanized formations here. So, and I checked whether I should fall back a hex into heavier terrain, because there's so many light forest provinces here. Maybe I haven't decided yet whether I should do that. So don't call me a cheater. I'm not gonna end the turn in this stream. I might fall back, give him trade some space for some less damage and breakthrough risk here. I don't know about that. I fiddle around quite a bit with the area here. The pink army is the 4th Army. He's still a decent Mech 5 leader, Purkayev. He's a very good infantry leader, however. So that's the reason I wanted to take my tanks divisions out of his command into Bobkins. So as you can see, he still has some tank formations, but mostly he's now an infantry commander. Unfortunately, further south under 38th Army, he's not a good tank commander with Mech 4, and still he has a couple of tank formations under his command. Obviously, I'm reshuffling here. We still have a bit of rough terrain between us and the Germans, so I'm hoping I have another turn to kind of get the really good tanks under Bobkin's command, the rest under 4th Army, and only infantry under this commander. So why is he brown? I guess he's kind of like a good 6 morale and 5 infantry. He's a good infantry commander. He should probably be red. Right. So pink is for you can command both infantry and mechanized. Gray, black is tanks. Red is really good. So I guess he should be red with a 6-5 there. All right, do that. I guess it was kind of mixed up, so I made him brown. All right. Then we have here a lot of German infantry setting up for an onslaught on the Bryansk sector. How worried am I about this? Well, of course he's gonna have mechanized formations here that reach there first, and then now he reached up here with the infantry. So I think we're gonna see heavy fighting here. But I do have like a little bit of a secondary line, although it's not that much. Yeah, I guess I'm semi-worried. There's a bit of rough terrain, but these light wood hexes, yeah. Oh, I don't think we need. We have 16,000 supplies here. I don't think we need priority 4 anymore. So yeah, I'm worried about the Bryansk sector, and the 20th Army defending Orel's sector is very, very weak. Like, it's a 19 command points army, but it's only 67,000 strong. And that's because, as you can see, it's mostly cavalry forming some sort of skirmish line here. But we have a few hexes of friendly terrain as a buffer zone. I don't have any. I think I put one infantry division up here, which is I'm not gonna pronounce that. So yeah, I'd say Bryansk Orel is a relatively weak sector of the front. I have to admit that, and yeah, I just have to reinforce that as we go. I actually put a division into Tula to exchange the Moscow militia here, because it only fortifies with a construction value of 10, and I want to have a good division, infantry division. Here we have a full infantry division fortifying Kaluga. So I'd say I'm a bit worried about getting encircled around Bryansk. That's all I'm going to say about that. Then I guess we evacuated the Chernigov sector entirely and fell back. I'm going to sacrifice one NKVD border guard regiment under the command of Stavka here. Why? I don't know. It feels wrong surrendering a city with level 2 fort, but I guess this is a mistake. I'm just gonna lose 1,700 troops for. Maybe I'll slow down a German infantry for half, like 5 moment points. So you can see here we have a few weak mechanized forces that's coming back from Chernigov. We have one strong 185th mech division. It's very strong with 7 combat value. The problem is I don't have a good mech leader. The 21st Army has a 3 mech leader. So basically they're weak, they're tired, and they're under bad command. And obviously this is with cavalry as well. It's basically one division with some trash formations in front holding this river line. I'm just hoping I don't know what I'm doing here. This is not good, but maybe he doesn't have infantry here in this area. Maybe he's just resting his few mechanized forces here. My best defense here in this sector, I believe, is that the Germans are fairly weak in this area. So my main line of defense here, which is not a good, is this army here with a couple of infantry divisions. We have 3 inside. What's this town's name? Sumy. So I guess I'm trying to just delay the Germans from reaching the Kursk Belgorod front, because you know the terrain here, it's flat wide open and the rivers run in the wrong direction. There's no defensive here. Well, you have a bit of rough around Sumy here, and these mech divisions, they have 11 tanks in them, so they're useless as well. And I deployed another empty shell of a mech division here and another semi-filled. So I guess I'm gonna take all these mechanized forces and eventually I'll place a proper tank commander in this sector and try to get something of its defending around Belgorod here. Then we come down to the Kiev sector, and as you can see, we're now defending. I'm just going to remove the fort so you can see. Now we're just having a very, very thin skirmish line along the Dnieper, and I'm keeping the depots so far. And what I did, I had weak infantry divisions in the Kiev sector here, and I railed them all back up to Kharkiv. So now we have a bunch of weak infantry divisions around Kharkiv, and I'm planning to try to form a fortification line here, and best case I can get some forts and build up a couple of forts so I can defend around Kharkiv in a couple of turns. That's my long-term plan, at least. Around south of Poltava, we have a lot of great tank and mechanized forces under the 12th Army. Here's my other good tank commander, Rybalko. The problem with this tank army, the 12th, it's not the numbers, it's almost 1600 tanks, but it's that they've been fighting outside Kiev offensively, doing some successful counterattacks, I think on turn 4, and then they fell back on turn 5, and then they fell back again now on turn 6. So we have very high fatigue numbers. Don't tell the Germans. If they knew we have fatigue from 62 down to 24 on our tanks here, he might take advantage of that. So I feel a bit of a pressure here that it's such a thin line along the Dnieper River in the ably commanded 3rd Army here under Kuznetsov. He's really good, isn't he? He's got 6 morale and 6 infantry, right? So yeah, good leader. But we have holes in our lines. This is just a security regiment here. But wait, we see level 1 fortifications here and here. So that makes sense. He has infantry lining up along the river, and if infantry hasn't reached further than this, you know, from Kremenchuk down towards Dnipropetrovsk, even if it's rather thinly held for now, this river line, I'm hoping his infantry isn't strong enough to get very far. But gosh, you know, he could make a breakthrough over the river and get further up here. Then we got new reinforcement for the, we're gonna call this the Twin Cities, Zaporizhzhia and Dnipropetrovsk. We got the 5th Army moved down here to command of this sector. It's a pretty good 3.8 leader, Potapov, and we formed up along the river here. It's a strong army with now 122,000 men under it. So I guess pushing straight east next turn is not going to be easy for the Germans. So it's more if they would be able to encircle this entire tank army. I'm really not certain how far I need to fall back, so I'm just going to have a last check on that. We do have some reserves around Poltava resting and refitting here. So, and for next turn I made my major commitment of an entire strong like tank army. I put up in all these hexes here along the behind the river line. I think like 1600 tanks in 8 divisions or something like that. So you're gonna see that the next turn. Then further south, obviously we have the thinnest possible cavalry skirmish line along the river. And further south we have Odessa. We got an army into Odessa. It's a pretty bad leader. It's kind of like Tallinn. Where do you put them? Well, and then yeah, I'm keeping building forts around the entrance to the Kerch Peninsula. And I haven't deployed these mech forces. I probably fall back one province. I don't know what's coming here. And I did order scouting in this area. For some reason, the directives didn't go off. So I know nothing. But my guess is you have some Romanian cavalry and light tank formations. Around Odessa, I can only see 2 Romanian infantry divisions. So I'm thinking maybe pulling out actually one of my, 7 infantry divisions from Odessa and put it in Nikolaev. As you can see, the southern front is actually, it's full and has almost, how the hell do we have 500,000 in the southern command? That you know, it looks weak, but it is actually kind of a strong sector of the front. I don't know what he can do. Alright, I forgot to do that in the beginning, but I guess I'll give you the overview of... we're up to 5.4 million men, and more interesting is that we reached 3.1 million men, so you can see quite a substantial increase in guns. Now we're deploying another 1800 tanks, but the main concern here is that we lost... I actually removed a lot of strategic bombers from the map, and also I lost 500 airplanes. So I think we're gonna see like a very drastic drop in next turn. But we're inflicting a little bit of losses, and our manpower losses are low the last 2 turns. Same with artillery. We lost a few tanks, but aircraft losses. Yeah, we killed a lot of Romanian bombers, but even this turn, I don't know what happened, but we killed a couple of enemy aircrafts. I guess this manpower pool is around how many manpower you get each turn, so it's basically empty. Oh yeah, I did set all my infantry divisions on the entire map at 75%, with some exceptions. So I'm gonna try to build up a little bit of a manpower pool reserve for refitting very banged up units on the map and in my reserve theater box. That's the plan. Right, as you can see here now, I got 177,000 vehicles and units out of a need of 205. I don't know how bad this is, having, I don't know, 80% of the need. Should you like really try to reach this and maybe disband a couple of tank mechanized divisions? With a quick look, you can see that I still have quite a few old trashy tanks. Sorry, here we go. T-26s and T-28s and BT tanks. You see we have hundreds in each pool. So I guess what my reasoning is that I'm gonna throw all these trashy tanks on the map and have them slow down the Germans under the summer. I guess better they take some Germans with them before they get obsolete and old. And of course I'm waiting to refill with T-34's good tanks later on. So I need to, I'm not gonna make any major changes here, but what did I forget to say? No, I think that's it. I expect the next 10 turns to be very bloody. Obviously, I'm stopping retreating all the way from Leningrad down to Moscow, Bryansk here. So I'm just gonna fight for every province here. So it's gonna be, I'm not gonna use trade space for time. In the south, I still can trade a bit of space, or in the center maybe you would call it. I can trade space for time, but around the Twin Cities here, as you can see, I am deploying to fight here. I don't want him to take this too quickly so he can reach the Donetsk basin too early. Right, I also started putting some airborne brigades all over the place here to build up forts. It's slow, but it's better than nothing. I have 2 divisions here now back here with the 6th Army starting to build fortify around Stalino. So let me know what you think about my my setup, my priorities, my long term. What am I missing here? I feel like I have a decent grasp of the game, but it's almost very underwhelming and nervous against a human opponent. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.